winner.
We're just going to go for it,
We're going for it already, so you need to come and sit down.
Okay.
It's just a full...
We're on it.
We're going to be on any second, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to run it.
Oh.
Right
You
there.
just need to sit down and...
Okay, where are you, Lenny?
I'll sit over here, mate.
You're Andrew
All right.
in the middle with you. So, there's a mic for each one there.
Oh, okay.
Can I just leave it
I'll
there?
leave it there, okay,
Leave
yeah.
it So, one's YouTube, one's...
Yeah, okay.
Hopefully we all fit in this.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Just...
What are you doing?
I was looking for hats.
We've got about 30.
Here we go.
Here we are, we all fit.
Yeah, we're all in there.
We're on there.
So you on?
I'm on the tube.
On the tube.
Okay, so it's like a 1, 2, 3. 3 second delay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's because that's the
Yes.
filter for swearing.
Yes, it is a
We don't
family
have one of
show.
them.
Oh, well, so you're on the tubes.
Yeah, on the tubes.
I'm still logging into the group. Hello, fanatics. Lenny here with Gibbo, Nadeem, our special guest for tonight, and Will on the end. So we are clearly not in my garage. Tonight we are at the Australian Sports Turf Managers Association annual conference, which this year is on the Gold Coast. And what is it? Who comes to this, Nadeem?
Pretty much anyone involved in the turf industry. So mainly golf course superintendents, but anyone essentially sports field curators, bowling green keepers, school curators, state schools, private schools, universities, and they'll probably actually possibly be. It's open up to anyone. That's the great thing about this week. It's not closed. It's free to get in, and anyone can come. If you're just Joe Blow off the street, it doesn't matter. Just go and register.
Yeah,
mate.
gents, like people, if you see tonight and you go, gee, I'd love to go to that, it's at the Gold Coast Convention Centre, so you can actually jump on the ASTMA, Australian Sports Turf Manager Association website, and you can register on there, and you can turn up as a
Just a visitor.
Yeah, trade conference visitor, and actually just go around and see some of the cool new machinery.
And you can come and see us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's not, to be fair, there's not mega amounts of new machinery there because there's supply issues all over the world. I think like Toro have got one mower because they just can't get any more. So
Yeah.
It's hectic.
Yeah, there's been a bit of scaling back on it, but to be honest, actually, that's not such a bad thing. It's just there's a lot more open areas, but yeah, a bit more scaled back stands. But to be honest, I looked at it going, the quality of the stands this year, I think it's gone up a notch.
Yeah.
On a lot of them. I was really quite surprised.
I've liked some of the stands so far. It's good. Whoa. It's just
Well,
the BFG arm just appeared.
it's muscular too, wasn't it?
Yeah. Solid.
The apparently
Solid.
there's complaints from my house about the sound quality. Please.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the sound quality.
Well, we are in the penthouse, so maybe that might be the thing.
Yeah.
Things do echo when you have many leather-bound books.
Correct. So,
Am I live in the group?
I haven't seen that yet. I'm on the tubes, mate. I'm all about that tube life.
I think I've stuffed it up.
You have stuffed
You've
it up.
stuffed it up.
So that's
Keep going.
Keep going.
Okay, what did you do today? Well, pretty well for me, it was just more trade show setup. Started that at 10 and just realistically finished that by about 1 or 1:30, 2 o'clock. That's what I did. And then there's on the Tuesday they always do a opening, of sort of VIP opening as they call it, but essentially for any registered delegate, come down to the show and have a couple of beers essentially.
Yeah.
That's what they do every year. It's been a tradition, and then from tomorrow it's open up to everyone. So yeah, everyone who we mentioned before. Well, what did you do? Set up your stand?
Pretty much the same thing. It's been interesting this year because we haven't seen a lot of people in the industry. Like, we haven't been able to travel interstate, and we haven't seen some people for 2 years, 2 and a bit years, sometimes longer if you haven't been to that state. And so it's been like a great opportunity today to catch up with people that, you know, haven't seen for such a long period of time. So it's been a bit of a spin out.
Yeah.
Correct. Being a spin out for me, obviously it's the first one I've ever been to, but being recognised in a room full of people like that for me is quite surreal. Like, it's actually like, what the hell? Like, I don't really expect to be recognised in that sort of field, but...
So for those who just joined us in the Facebook group,
Hello, everyone, people! Finally,
We're live from the Gold Coast at the Australian Sports Turf Managers Association Conference. This is our upgrade from my garage into the hotel, the Backpackers Lodge. Lenny, Gibbo, Nadeem from Campbell's Chemicals is our special guest tonight, and Will down the end there. Nadeem's really letting us down with his beard game. It's just horrible.
So yeah, I didn't shave this morning. I did that at least. Yeah, no, I feel a bit left out. Sorry, guys.
That's all right, John. Cox will be on to you, mate.
Apparently the sound's pretty ordinary, but there's nothing we can do, mate. We're on tour. Like, the roadies didn't show up. They've been stuck in Victoria and COVID.
Yeah, that's right.
So the sound's horrible, but we just make do with what we can.
And we're snack free. Like, what's
Snack,
going
there's
on?
some chips up there, but we're going out to the pub for dinner apparently. So
it won't be that long tonight, guys. Just so you know.
It's been a long day for us. It's not. These trade shows aren't easy.
That's right.
no. So the plan for us is tonight we won't jabber on for hours because we just, because beers. But
Beers, yeah.
So we'll do a quick live stream tonight just to say hi and check in, but we'll do a lot of filming and a lot of interviews with people at the trade show tomorrow, and we'll splice that up. And
We've already
something,
hooked up
we
a
know
few
Brett
interviews
Nicol.
for
There's something
tomorrow,
wrong with
should be
sound.
cool.
It's ordinary. I might even unplug those microphones
For what?
because they're not working.
On which one?
This one.
The tubes one is working all right.
Yeah, apparently it's crackling in and out.
Oh, yeah.
What about this one?
That's working.
They're working nicely.
Voice of an angel.
That's right.
So tomorrow we'll do a lot
YouTube
of.
fine.
We'll walk. Gibbo and I will walk around a bit and make a pest of ourselves like we did tonight.
My
more-
favourite thing to do.
The more hats you collect, the better.
Yeah, that's it. There's always a swag. There's always
I'm
a
up to 12 hats. So far.
I'm up to
Well,
20. Will's up to none.
Yeah.
Stitch up.
Stitch
That's
up.
what
Stitch
happens
up.
when you're working on a stand.
I'd love to give you a hat, but we don't have a hat. I'll have a little microfiber cleaning cloth tomorrow. We've done. They didn't arrive in time.
Speaking of caps, I do have
Oh,
The
Yeah.
the original and the best.
Sierra Form
Green grade.
GT.
Sierra Form GT.
you can't
you
read
know,
it from back here on the vids.
green
He's
grade,
getting it right in there.
granular, fertilizer. It's some good stuff.
Classic.
So we'll probably do a giveaway at some point with some of that kit.
Yeah.
I reckon.
Yeah, we'll just go grab everything from the show and then do it that way, okay?
We pilfered some stuff from John Deere on the promise that we would give it away. I had no intention of giving it away.
No.
But
Some of the John Deere merch is good.
yeah,
it's-
so
it's
we'll give some.
rare.
We'll give some stuff away.
It's
It-
rare
it-
that you
it-
get free John Deere hats.
Like the John Deere stuff's hard. I know Cody Beckett, who's a Queensland manager for John Deere, and I asked him about all of that. He goes, "We actually he has to make a request to head office, and then they actually pay for it.
Yeah.
No.
So it's not just given to them.
Oh,
because it is so popular.
Yeah, it's not cheap to do. Like,
Well,
it's an outlay.
That trademark, from what I've heard, I think I was at one of the BTME conference in the UK, and we were talking to like the international, one of the business managers of John Deere, and he was like, the trademark is worth, like, it precedes everything in the company. Just that logo, the John Deere logo is
imagine.
worth
It is so recognisable.
billions of dollars, you know.
Well, you look at it a lot of the times, like you see in a lot of movies as well, the John Deere logo. It's a
Yeah.
lot of the
Correct.
anything sort of
Football
Yeah.
stadium related and everything.
Yeah.
It's all about John Deere.
Credence Clearwater Revival lyrics, it's
Correct.
everything,
Yep.
you know.
Mhm.
Green River is about the town of Moline, where John Deere, the inception
Oh,
of
okay. I
John
didn't know
There
that.
you go.
Yeah. So Moline is
How
about
do you know?
3 hours west of Chicago.
You bloke.
It's actually, you go across the border of Illinois into Iowa, and that's where the original like kind of John Deere combine harvesters, and so they make all the
I've
world's...
watched the Mega Factories one of the John Deere
Yeah.
combine
Yeah.
harvester. Oh
Yeah.
my god, what a setup!
You can do
I
a
have-
free tour there. If
Yeah.
you get to Chicago and you're into
And you
that...
don't get shot.
Yeah. If you get to
snowed
Chicago...
under and yeah.
If you ever get the chance to go to Chicago, just give yourself a half day to get out to Moline. It's about 2.5 hours drive, and that's where that's that factory there where they make the combines, and they give you a free tour. So there's a gator with like trailers of seats, and you hop on there and you drive around the factory, and there is 700 hand welding. So they're still relatively handmade.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
They're really, really strong, and they do what's called, I think it's called like gold key access, where if you buy one, because they're worth like $700,000 US or something, you can actually drive the machine off the production line. It's cool.
And you know what? There'll be a lot of people who want to do that. So I want to do that with a Ferrari that I want to get eventually. I want to go to Maranello for that. But yeah.
Well, we still need to line you up with Kim for a spin in his.
Yeah, I know. I saw a Ferrari today. I go, I wonder if that's him. And I was going to take a picture and ask.
We should have hit him up. He would have driven it down here just for that.
Well, what's he doing tomorrow?
Yeah, well, I'll message you.
Yeah. Give me 2 minutes, I'll message you.
All right, so Fanatics, those who don't know, Nadeem actually runs. Oh, we don't run.
Own.
Colin Campbell Chemicals. So, Nadeem supplies us with a lot of the info we relay back to you guys. He's a chemical expert. So if you've got any chemical questions or what else did you say we're going to grill Nadeem on tonight?
I think we got disease.
Any
Disease.
disease?
Okay, yeah.
So Nadeem would have in his range stuff that would be registered to control some of the things you see, but also he'd have good hints and tips of like maybe it's not just like when we were talking before. Maybe it's not just using a fungicide, but it's doing a few things in combination that can help on your lawn. It's not always just opting for one thing. It's a series of things integrated together. So
So let's get a bit of a background on yourself first of all.
All right.
While we wait for some questions to roll in. So tell us about your kickoff into the turf industry and how that sort of came about to start with.
Well, pretty much going family business.
Okay.
So Colin Campbell Chemicals. One of the things actually is what we're pushing at the show is we were 80 years old last year. Couldn't really do much because of COVID. So we're 81 this year, but we're still celebrating 80. So essentially, how I got involved was. My dad started working for Colin Campbell Chemicals back in the late 70s.
Yep.
And then what had happened, the two owners, Colin and Neil Campbell, very well known, especially Neil Campbell was the face of the turf industry. They were close to retirement and everything like that, and the company wasn't going so well. But my dad saw potential. He was there as an accountant, became general manager, sales manager and the like, still a small business. And then essentially bought them out with a few other partners. Over the years, the other partners have gone away, and so it essentially took over and transformed the company from, at the time, it was about 800 grand in debt, which doesn't sound like a lot because these days, our mortgages are huge. But back then, in the early 80s, it's like
a lot of money.
Yeah, about $2-3 million type thing. So then he with the other partners, got rid of the owners, got rid of it for the sales force. We sell direct, put on all distribution and likes like that, and then grew the company up. My brother started working for them, working for us, should I say, 96 it was full time. I came on in somewhere in 99, 2000. From there, and unfortunately my father passed away, a few years ago now, about 2.5 years ago now. But yeah, so it's me, my brother, and one other partner in the business, and we're still the small family business. We've got that. The interesting part is we had our office manager retire after 29 years. Our accounts manager retired after 25 years. The funny thing is their daughters work for us.
Wow. So must be all right to work for.
That's it. No one leaves. After you got to be at least there 20 years. Our storeman's been there for 30 something years. So
wow. So that's pretty impressive. So a lot of a family business.
So let's just give you a bit of a nutshell.
Yep.
Yeah. How we operate.
Yep. Awesome.
So I think a lot of the stuff that Nadeem sells, manufactures, and that would not be available to us as the home.
Correct.
But one of the products that we've highlighted before is Tridem, which is brilliant for a broad range of fungal issues that you might have in your lawn, and you can see that you'll find that at most of the good retailers who'll sell Tridem in a 1 litre. So that's something that you guys can jump onto. Discount code is no.
That's a good product. It's like I'm on like. Hopefully a lot of guys sort of would recognise the name and then obviously be able to see the face now of this. Because I try to get on the page as much as possible. It's usually late at night, those type of things, and good offer advice. I hope I never offend anyone out there. I apologise if I do. You can always direct message me in regards to it. But yeah, as Will was saying before, the aim is I want you guys to get the best results out of everything, and you don't need to go out and spray if you don't have to really. It's like, why should you go out and spray this? What are you doing? Sometimes it's like one of the biggest lessons, patience.
Well, that's exactly right. And if we've got the owners of a really well-respected chemical company giving you guys free advice, I think that's incredible. So take that as an absolute blessing. And the fact he's come over here tonight when he could be doing anything else at this conference,
beers.
I'm blown. Anyway, he will get the beers afterwards.
That's my pleasure, guys.
The big question is, and we have to ask everyone, your lawn at home, What do you have? How do you run it? What do you?
Yeah. Oh, this is an interesting one because I have put a few pictures up on my lawn. So I'll just so the place I moved into, I've always had Kaiku, but this place where I live now about 5 years, I finally got cooch. It's Windsor Green cooch.
Oh, goody.
And it's like, you know how
It's
everyone
no
talks,
carpet grass, but it's close.
and everyone talks about armyworm.
Yeah.
It's like going and yeah, this is funny going. I got smashed with armyworm. I was like, I'm going looking and going, something's happening here. I'm going, I wonder what happened there. Going, oh, wait, that's right. I sprayed some Destiny on my lawn not long ago that I might have done it a bit too strong. Went away for work and everything like that. Came back up, lawn's dead. Wait a minute. I think I've got armyworm. Oh, great. So, literally, but the good thing was...
armyworm.
I had armyworm. So, I sprayed that all out. There's like coming into winter, but where I am, northwest Sydney, it's cool. Gets very cold in the winter time. Cooch goes completely dormant. I'm going to oversow. So I oversowed with ryegrass.
Yeah,
I had the best ryegrass.
Nice.
Yeah, and I didn't do a proper oversow. It was essentially like going, well, cooch is dead, dormant. Let's just put the ryegrass out, give it water, give it a feed, and let's see what happens. And the ryegrass came out beautifully.
It did.
Yeah, because I'm on recycled water, so I can water whenever I want. That's the great thing about
Beautiful.
it. No water restrictions. And so I've done that again. Actually got hit with armyworm again this year. But I got on top of it a bit earlier.
Nice.
So, but I did oversow again with the ryegrass.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so it's not as good as last year. I haven't had as much time, but yeah, I don't cut it with a cylinder mower. Just with a rotary.
Question. What's the mower status?
Just a rotary.
Just a helicopter?
Just a
Yeah.
helicopter.
And if you could have any mower, what would you have? Would you have like? Because there were some pretty nice ones.
There
at
was
the
a pretty
conference.
I've always liked Jacobson. The Greens
Yeah.
mower Jacobson have always had a very good reputation. Their cutting heads are superior to everything else out there. These days, realistically, they're all very close to each other.
Yeah.
That's what even the John Deere stuff that's coming on now, and Toro's always been brilliant. So
It's
yeah.
interesting, like if you look at like
The Baroness
we're
stuff.
talking
too.
about like mower companies. It's interesting when you look at like where it's bred from. Like if you look at like John Deere, they're all about they kind of bring the precision ag side of things into the greenkeeping. Jacobson for mine, and I mentioned it I think to you today, Lenny. It's always been about the actual action of cutting.
Yeah.
Like everything of that mower has been about quality of cut. Like that's probably like what they care about the most. And I think like you look at like the Baroness, it's probably all about like the precision engineering because of like it having that background in Japan.
Yeah.
Like it's
The Jacobsons have got that, we were saying today, they've got that articulated bloody rotary mower.
yeah. So they've got like and
Wow.
that to me is all about quality of cut. Like it's a
Follow the slope.
it's a rough mower that can follow contours, and obviously like we're used to going over a contour and probably scalping in, but this mower's designed to kind of be a bit more easy over the mounds and probably won't scalp. But
All right, I do have the first questions coming in for Nadine.
Oh yeah. Hopefully I can answer it.
I don't know, this is a hard one.
Oh.
So, Tiff Tough Coast, he is a regular contributor.
Oh, okay.
I don't actually know his name. What could I use to treat poa in my perennial ryegrass?
Pretty much. Well, we got power check. Our end of that, we got that. That'll work. That's totally safe. Biggest thing is make sure your ryegrass, if you're well established and you're not seeding or anything like that, because and this goes for a lot of herbicides. Going, you put the seed down and it starts germinating, then you put herbicide on, you've killed the seed.
Boom, so
Yeah, kind of like that. So yeah, power check definitely would be. There's another one. Ethofumazate, but that's one that unfortunately only getting 5 litre lots. They're the two safest on ryegrass.
Okay.
with power check, is there any other things like with like obviously it'll be all on the label, but is there any other things that will give a better result, like making sure that there's plenty of moisture in the turf or like things like that?
Yeah, definitely, and that's good because one of the things is like I know with our power check we've sometimes had hit and miss results, and it can be that because power check will do annual type of power. When you start to get your perennial power, which will germinate other times of the year, and you go, why have I got winter grass coming up now? There's the different biotypes. It doesn't tend to do it all that well, those types. Okay. But the good thing is, like, yeah, definitely, if you want to water, do it about a day or two before. You don't need it the surface soaking wet, but you just want to have good moisture content. Then keep it dry as long as possible. The other thing, if you can put it on when the turf is dry, rather than in the morning when it's all dewy or anything like that, put on when the turf is dry and just leave it on and don't water or anything like that. The longer the better. And that follow-up application, look at 10 to 14 days. Because once you start to get out of that, you'll just get the bounce back straight away.
Okay.
That's the thing there.
Sweet. So, Tiff Tough Coast also agrees on the better cut from a Jacobson every time.
Yep.
Jordan Menz on the tubes. Does adding liquid nitrogen knock red thread?
You'll grow it out. It's the best
yeah.
way to deal with red thread. There's fungicides you can use, but to be honest, I
It's
don't
generally
know.
a nutrient deficiency, it's
Yeah.
predominantly nitrogen
Yeah,
deficiency.
that's it. No one ever recommend. I would never recommend a fungicide.
But
on red thread.
they never recommend it, and it'd be silly to recommend like just a big hit, like and you know, red thread is probably common in rye or, you know, other cool season. They might say, like, you know, put 5 to 10 kilos of actual down a week or something until you see it senesce out of the leaf, or, you know, or conversely put a slow release down and it probably deliver the equivalence of that amount over that period anyway.
Sorry, I'm just typing furiously.
Oh, that's all right.
I'm replying to Kim Foster saying, "What are you doing tomorrow?" Nadine wants to ride the Ferrari.
And I just got Jono Cox up me because
He's up me too.
we didn't invite him. Well, we did. You got an open invitation, Jono. You are allowed to go wherever you want with us, whenever you want.
Yeah, you are welcome anytime, you absolute legend. Some of the stuff he comments is just...
That was the other thing I was going to
really
say,
good.
you mentioned before, and we probably haven't really talked about it, but you talked about the different types of POA. And like,
It's not something we've mentioned too many times, is it?
Yeah.
we see that in the commercial side of industry. It's probably the number one economic turfgrass weed in the industry, probably worldwide. Perennial is, but there's so many different biotypes and different, you know, like the annual type and the perennial type. Do you want to talk a little bit on that? Because I've heard in some of your podcasts talking to some of the guys about POA.
Yep.
You know, and you've just brought out probably, I would say, one of the newest actives on it. Do you want to talk about, you know, how you came to making that decision to really want to bring it out, and how big a deal POA control is?
But POA is the number one weed, and it's the highest weed that's got the most resistance out there as well. And it's like, yeah, if you listen, like, I've got a podcast called Behind the Turf. If you want to listen, it's I interview quite a lot of university professors and the likes like that. So there's a lot of technical terms there, but in saying that, a lot of people can understand it, and especially some of the guys listening here with all your different careers, you know, you might be in sort of another science field, you'll easily understand what we're talking about. But with the POA side of things, yeah, brought out POA Kill for the commercial side. Unfortunately, can't use it in the home lawns, and that's one of the things. Actually, let me just touch on that. With registration on products these days, the APVMA are really stopping products being registered on home lawns. We've got a new broadleaf herbicide, which would be awesome for lawn fanatics, but unfortunately, we're not allowed. We can't get it labelled for residential turf or home lawn use, even though the actives are already out there in bow and arrow and you know, a couple of other broadleaf herbicides as well, which is a bit of a shame. So can't that. So POA Kill is like that. But yeah, the aim is like going. We knew POA was a big issue. We saw this product. I saw this product actually on social media back. Going back now, would have been 2021, probably about 10 years ago or so. And there was a picture of it going, 1 year later, POA Kill treated, untreated. And it's just like going a year later, going, there's still no POA. So it's not a silver bullet. It's a great tool. I did a talk the other day. I said, it's like a Death Star. I'm a Star Wars fan as well.
You are a Star Wars fan.
It's like the Death Star. It's like, that's what it is. But you still need the other products. You still need your TIE Fighter. You still need your Star Destroyers to come in and do the rest of it as well. But the interesting thing with when you take Perennial and the Annua, the great thing about POA Kill, the interesting part, people use it and they go, oh geez, the POA died after my first application. It's like, what it is the Annua type dropping out because that's the weaker strain. And then you get those Perennial strain which sort of hang on, and then they'll eventually die later on. But our fear is, and I've spoken to a few turf managers, said we've tested POA Kill against every known biotype that's got resistance in Australia, and we've killed it. But my thing is going, if there's a biotype that you're not getting great control on that, rather than keep on going and spraying it, plug it out, take it out, because that will become the dominant strain. And that's the same where you guys are going with your weeds and the likes like that, right? If something's, you know, you're killing majority of weeds, but there's these 1 or 2 weeds that just aren't dying, don't keep on going spraying, dig them out.
Manual.
Just dig them out, because if they become the dominant weed, you won't be able to control it.
I know
it's going to be hard.
I know it's not
like
turf,
images.
but it's production hort.
Yep.
But weeds are also a
Yep.
massive issue
Yes.
there. And Dr. Joe Neal, who's probably, I think he's North Carolina uni. He has this thing called pull 'em or leave 'em, and basically it's based on the size of the weed and also like how resistant that weed is. And so like if you go and give your lawn a hand weed on that day, If it's basically too small to pull out, you're not going to pull it, and generally most herbicides will knock it. And then if it's, as you say, something that you've recognised in your lawn that's a bit more resistant or something, it's time to pull that out as well. So it's just like making that decision on the day and doing it regularly enough. Like if it is every like once a month or something, you just give areas a hand weed. You'll find you'll get on top of weeds very effectively.
Because weed resistance is the biggest thing. Like we talk about fungicide resistance, but realistically, everything in Australian agriculture and Australian food production, it is weeds are the biggest issue. And we all talk about how good ryegrass is. I was saying before, but ryegrass is the issue. That's getting harder and harder to kill, and there's not really many new chemistries coming out. That's the scary part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
there is
keep going, mate, because we need that.
We're always trying to find different things and the like that. I'm hoping it's like obviously the other side of it, the biological side as well. So it's like there's been a lot of work in this area. Weeds, there hasn't been as much, but there is work going on and going, is there biological that can work and bring out for weed control, or at least help supplement what you were doing? That's the thing. That's the next step. So it's like, we're not going to see a big jump in weed control or any other control. It's going to be these little steps and these other little products that come out. But it's one of those things. I think there was something about a product on a page, something I'll say with the page, and I know Will gets on there, Michelle gets on there, going, just let's see if the product is tested. If you don't know about it, if it's too good to be true, ask those questions. You've got good people who can make recommendations on the page, and really look at what's in the product and see what it actually does, because there's a lot of claims with products out there.
Proof's in the pudding. Look at the testing. If it's not been tested and someone's just making some outlandish thing, then I heard recently there's a guy making a new form of fertiliser from recycled product in Western Australia, and he's brought it over here and he said, you should sell this, it's a really good product. And they said, well, where's your proof that it's a good product? He goes, oh, it just works on my lawn. Well,
and
beautiful.
That's the thing. Like generally, what you find is like products and companies have a track record of doing something. So like, if it is substantiated and does stack up, generally it's that company does do the legwork and does have the trials and does present. And when they say something, it's generally proven. There are a lot of products that make claims that, like, if you go and just do a Google search on that product and try and find any R&D, you'll often find that there'll be, if there is R&D, it's sometimes not even, independent, and also sometimes it's not even done properly to show the difference or show a point of difference. So like,
if you could see how much Wally is controlling himself right now,
I'm holding him back.
While we were setting this up, the talk that these guys were talking about, trials, plots, how you do this by the millimetre, that these two are freaks and they hold themselves back. Like, usually I've got the air horn, but they're being very reserved right now.
We would empty the can.
What I heard before in the 10 minutes as we were getting this up going was unbelievable. So well done to these guys for controlling yourself, because
I was going to hurl myself off the veranda. Bloody hell, you two, settle down.
That's right. So, and it only inside that building, whoa, like today I was hearing some pure tech that I was just like mind blown. It was like pretty interesting.
Well, it's all the guys who run, the stadiums, the big golf courses, even the little country golf courses, but it's guys who, they're brilliant. Brilliant what they do.
Oh, great question here from Peter Williams. In regards to the manual weed removal, is there any other weeds you can't pull out, i.e. nutgrass and sedges?
Yeah, they're hard.
It's interesting, the sedge one as well.
Yeah.
Like in who was it? Was it they were talking about that in a podcast.
Yeah, because
sedges have got big resistance.
Sedges are going to be the power of Queensland. That's what sedges are going to be up here.
That doesn't surprise me.
See, power's not much of an issue down there. Victoria, it is. So
sedge, just for the punters, we're talking about nutgrass,
mullen,
those ones. Okay, yeah. So
but there is a within what we'd call nutgrass as well. Like there's actually different strains, and like there's like perennial, green head and like purple nutsedge,
yellow nutsedge.
So there's like so many subtypes.
Sounds like me when I went to Thailand.
So they're developing resistance to what is usually is halosulfone methyl has been used, sedgehammer or
well, that's it. They're all the same. There's Sempra, Kempra, sedgehammer.
Anything with
They're
halo
all
sulfur
that.
and metal.
Any of those Group B
Yeah.
herbicides.
Yeah,
So
funny,
the
yeah.
only thing you
apart
can
from
use,
those, is there any other weeds that we shouldn't be removing manually that you can think of off the top of your head? Only cobbler peas, because you drop the cobbler peas on the lawn somewhere else and then they just go nuts somewhere else.
that can happen. The seed does drop
Well,
on that, so you just got to watch out.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think there's other things like people make decisions to spray sometimes too late, and when they do spray, even things like crow's foot.
Yep.
Like I think crow's foot up to a certain size, once it gets above a certain size, it's almost like you're better off just hand pulling it
Yep.
and filling in the
Yep.
divot than actually trying to get a herbicide to actually kill that, because it will take 3 applications at the
Yeah.
right rate with the right humidity. Like everything needs to fall into place to get a good.
No,
For that to be
100%. I remember
perfect,
speaking to Scott McElroy at Auburn University in regards to that using Tribute. And it's like, I was saying, look, is there resistance? He goes, no, it's not resistance, it's just how big the plant is. Don't expect, we test these herbicides and we do everything like that, but, if something's like huge, it's going to take so much more to kill, and whether you actually get the result. Like, one thing out of the broadacre side is like going, some products don't work after a certain stage, so you can put it on and just like putting water on, absolutely nothing. So you've got to get that timing right. So just be mindful. Just go scout whenever you do before you do the mow, just go have a quick look, see if there's any weeds there, see what's coming up, and then get out and spray it, because if the conditions are right, those weeds are going to go from really small to really big very, very quickly.
Correct. Well, one of my mates, he plays soccer up at Coolum, and their main field is just destroyed with crow's foot. And last year, it's like, oh, what can I spray with it? So I got them, is it Tribute? Is that what it was?
Tribute,
Yeah. So got them Tribute, they sprayed it. But some of the clumps, I went up there for the first time the other day, some of the crow's foot clumps were like that big. And I was like, any wonder it didn't kill it first go. Like, you couldn't just spray that once. I said, what you guys have to do is like an SES search party with everyone in the club and just walk the length of your field and pull every bit of it out. I said, that's the only way that you're going to do it. And you've got enough players in the club that's what you should do. So a lot of fanatics do part of volunteer sports clubs and stuff like that. When you do your working bees around the club to paint stuff, get out and weed the ovals, and that sort of stuff will make such a difference.
It makes a huge
to your
difference.
kids playing those sports. Because watching the soccer, like they play pretty high level soccer,
Yeah.
watching the ball and coming, like deviating off crow's foot hands, it was actually hilarious to watch people having hair swings, everything. I was like, oh,
I heard a
freshies.
fascinating anecdote about sedge though, and this probably, I don't know if this happens in the States, but it certainly happens here. We have species of birds that actually, the nut smells sweet to them, so corellas, cockatoos, and I have seen birds land on like sporting fields at certain times of the year and almost do exactly that emu parade and actually pull the whole sedge plant out, the plant and the nut.
Oh,
Pull it
there you go. There's your biological weed control.
Yellow nut sedge, they did the whole oval, and it was like systematic and cleared it up completely.
See, that's when people want birds on, because you just let the birds just rip everything up. So that's
Mate,
it was a
our golf
cooch.
holes are Windaroo.
It was Tiff Tough
yeah.
field. Amazing.
Kalimba.
I put photos up on Turf Management.
Yeah.
I'll find the photos. I'll put them up on the page later tonight. It was fascinating, but I think if that was part of the maintenance at your field, and you knew, and it was almost like clockwork, because sometimes that's how nature works.
Yeah.
You'd almost go, okay, I'll wait another week and then go put my preem down.
Yep.
Perfect time.
Right, Moving forward, why does Australia not have PGRs in granular form like New Farms and New?
Economy
Economy of scale, I'd say.
Economy of scale and
kind of
cost,
sale. Yeah, the look. It's interesting. This is one of the things when I'll give you a good example. Like when we registered Polecure, we registered Polecure here for everything within turf, obviously except home lawns. In the US, it's like they register products per turf segment.
Okay.
Golf, sports fields, and home lawns. They've got a separate full-on home lawns, and the lawn care market there is just amazing. I was having a chat to one of the companies over there, PBI Gordon. They got a product called Vexus, and it does sedges and stuff. But they got like a little shaker thing. I was like, geez, this would be an awesome product, but
Putting chips and salt on your chips.
yeah, but essentially it's like economies of scale is, I don't think the market would be big enough to develop it to get it just for that use. It's, it is crazy. It all becomes down to that. But that New Farm and the other side of it is going, New Farm they used to do things in turf. They don't really do anything in turf. It's not on their radar. They're more broad acre horticulture crops.
I'd have to check too, like the the practicality of it. But like, if it was
That
like
side.
getting the rate right and like if it was still only like a 240 or 200 GDD like growing degree day, you're still putting granular out every 2.5 weeks or every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's either granular or spraying. Like you do it. Like there's got to be a logical reason to change to a different technology. Like for mine, like if it was able to deliver a higher amount of say active ingredient, and almost be like slow release growth regulator, then it would make sense economically and also like for the end user and for the consumer.
Yeah.
But it kind of, if it offers no other benefit other than probably ease of application, and maybe safety from spray drift and things, it may not be worthwhile.
That's a lot of the time. Those points is like why some of the forms are there. It's like you got heritage over there in a granular form, but you put the granular versus the sprayable. The granular doesn't work as well as a sprayable.
Distribution.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't get no good result, but that eliminates spray drift, the safety, the ease of application, and it's sold a lot of landscape management, especially in small areas. That's where it's all used. So, but there in the US, they 300 million people, we're 25 million. That's what it comes down to.
The other thing too is like the way things are formulated are actually different in some countries. Like the way that granule is, like they might source the granule off one chemical company and then get the active ingredient off another, put those two together, and they've got some kind of unique registered formulation. Whereas those connections and arrangements may not be able to be made in Australia because there might be disagreements between certain chemical companies, and so it just may not work from I'd say a political sense in the Australian market.
Well, let you know, when one of the first shows, it's like we saw Merit and fertilisers together combination. You go, great, this would be great to get.
Yeah.
Started talking to the guys and you go, the imidacloprid, it's like, is it yours? And they go, yeah, it's ours. And when you start talking a bit more, it's going, oh, no, Bayer make it for us. Oh, okay. No hope of anything in Australia. Obviously, if it's up to Bayer to bring it out in Australia, but over there, they do give licenses to other companies to do certain products.
Yeah.
So it's like you're seeing with Acceleraprin, with Yates had their grub killer powered by Acceleraprin. It's a Syngenta product. It's just in a smaller pack size.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
One of the things I found interesting today was that that polymer bifenthrin.
Yep.
Did you see it?
For the killing ants and
it's interesting how companies formulate, and I think that was what I was like, oh, okay, I can see that, and jury's still out on whether it does give greater longevity, although, in surfactants and things, if you get the right polymer chain length, like longer block copolymers, you do get greater longevity, and you can get higher loading rate in the active ingredient. And so they'd obviously formulated a polymer from the formulation chemist had a paints background and worked as almost like a surfactant specialist, and brought those technologies into an insecticide. And so according to the data, they've obviously got research material to register, because you have to showcase in Australia. They're able to show greater longevity of bifenthrin due to this polymer addition in the bifenthrins. And the sales manager was telling us up to 6 months. Whether that is 6 months of control at that level, or if it's 6 months of a threshold, of acceptable control to a point, and then I don't know, but we'd have to look.
Like you said, so essentially you spray, you apply your bifenthrin, and it's got polymer coatings on individual little thingos. So, and they sit in your soil profile, and every time it rains, he said, the water droplets bust the polymer, and you reactivates the bifenthrin in your soil. So it could last up to 6 months. So it gives you control of ants and worms and lawn grubs, I suppose.
Worms.
So I'm not
You're not allowed to kill earthworms.
I'm not entirely
You've got to prove that when you
sure.
register.
But when I said to him, say every time you irrigate, that's going to activate. So you would think if you're on a regular irrigation cycle,
that's what I wonder,
whether
whether
it through pretty quick.
whether the leach.
So if you're just relying on
I always
rain,
thought bifenthrin bound to organic matter for a long period of time anyway.
But then you get the microbial breakdown as well, and if you leave bifenthrin on the surface, it just breaks down UV light.
The other problem too is you've got to read, if that product does work as well as it is, it would have to be irrigated in almost immediately, because polymers break down like that. That's why wetting agents, they tell you to irrigate them in within
Excellent.
you know,
Yeah.
of putting it down, because like that might be 100% efficacy at spraying, and within 4 hours of not irrigating, it might be 50
Correct.
because of that polymer breakdown. You know, we don't know.
And
But
before I got into being such a fanatic, when I was just an average punter, I failed on that a few times from not watering in within the, I was like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Like, I'm a bit stuffed now. And then just from pure not knowing, watering the next day, and then it just not work. And it's because I totally lost the window of when I was meant to, and I just wasted $200 on stuff that I really shouldn't have.
And that's the thing. And anything you got to water in, I say to guys out there, go, if you have to water in, just do it straight away.
Yeah.
Don't go wait 5 hours. Don't go wait until the next day. Just do it.
I think
Just
what's
get it done.
interesting is like those recommendations. Like we just think it's like just that just gets said.
Yeah.
Like we were talking to someone today, and they had like the progression of like where they found the active ingredients,
Yeah.
so where they came out with the product in market. It was like 26 years or something.
Yeah.
Like Powercure for
Yeah.
you, like the inception to where it's come out has been how long's that taken?
Yeah, well, the product is actually out of Korea. That's where it's made, and the inventors are and the likes like that. They started. Well, they first registered in Korea. I think it was 2000. I've got to remember it's on our website. I think 2009.
Okay.
Yeah, what 2009 going?
13 years.
So 13 years.
Yeah, here we are.
and
2020. Well, like 2020 got registered. May 2020
So
got
and,
registered.
and to get all those recommendations on the label, you have to run
Oh,
years
there
of
was-
trial work.
There was a lot of work, because one of the things is like going, what you see on the label is just only a very small part of it. Years ago, we used to send to the APVMA like books and books and books, essentially about that big worth of data. Now it's now it's all uploaded, and it just took in our product development manager essentially spent half a day uploading everything to the APVMA servers in terms of it. So there's a lot of that, and that's the thing. You've got the environmental work, the toxicology work, all of that, all the risk side of things. We do all that. We know all that. It's all tested, it's tried and proven. So whenever products you guys are using out there going, there's a lot of work, just besides the rate and what it actually does, there's a heap of stuff behind
Well,
it.
this is also where the average punter sometimes looks past and goes, man, $150 is expensive for that.
Yeah.
But you think of a company like Nadim's, the R&D just on him, let alone who Wally works for, the R&D side of that, you're talking 13 years of a whole company trying to get one product to market. If you're buying it for $200, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like let's be honest, in the scheme of money,
But you also get,
like
you're
you're
getting
that R&D
100
backing.
applications out of some of these
Correct.
products too.
But
So.
when people don't sometimes realise what actually goes into this to make it happen for the average punter, like they think, oh sure, for golf courses and stadiums and all this, they can do all that R&D, but we're just average lawn guys. But then the average lawn guy wants to use products like the stadiums and golf courses. You got to understand that supremacy is for a reason.
Yeah.
So, all in all, people have got to realise if they want to play with the big boys, you got to be able to
It's like,
really want to.
it's like with medicines and the likes like that. It's like going, in our industry, we do similar to work what the medical industry does. Obviously, it's not as stringent because it's not going on for humans, but the scientific basis is very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and everything like that. So look at it from that point of view.
Yeah. Well, we're going to wrap it up because it's.
Well,
7:30.
just important questions.
Oh.
We're talking about the Austrian Grand Prix this weekend.
Oh yes.
So Danny Rick seems to be getting a handle on the McLaren.
Yes.
He finished 6th, he started 10th, so I think he raced really well. Boring circuit, but cracker of a race on the last weekend. How do you think he's going to go? Because he likes Austria.
Yeah.
He's done well there
Our man
previously.
Dan Rick.
Yeah.
He done no. He's got the 2 races there. So
The Styrian Grand Prix, which are the same track. At least they could go the other direction.
Yeah.
Mike.
they did talk about that, but I think it's the safety aspect where it's a bit hard. Yeah.
There's one corner that's pure end centre if you get it wrong.
Yeah.
Really?
It just will not work in reverse. I watched a thing on the other day. I forget what corner it is, but they'll mention it in the telecast. It's like if you get that corner wrong.
Have you tried it in Gran Turismo? Like, if it works in that, it
Yeah,
works
everyone
in the
loves to
other.
go backwards off. Yes.
That's right.
It's like going driving around Mount Panorama. The great thing about it is you can drive it both ways,
Yeah.
and it's quite different. I love doing it.
I hold the
Oh, wow.
record at Mount Panorama in a Navara towing a camper trailer.
I probably got it in a Pajero because I told
It was 60 k's an
What's
hour.
the tip of like going the other way? Like, you know,
Steep.
it's
Oh, it's
extreme.
that would be
ridiculous.
insane,
Yeah.
wouldn't it?
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
They
You
can,
can almost see
because
the
it's
front
two-way
legs.
road. So anyone who hasn't driven Mount Panorama, you can always drive. Obviously, they don't have a track day, and you go both ways. So keep left.
Yeah.
Bit harder.
Yeah, but if you
Especially
do a
when
lap
you
and you
come
don't
over.
see 3 cop cars,
Yeah.
there's something wrong because they monitor that road.
Oh,
Yeah.
they do. My brother went
Very
to Charles Sturt University, and it's like going the number of times that, like, if you spun out and you got stuck in the gravel, the cops would be there as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so not just the tow truck, but the copper. But
Well,
going
notice
back to
that-
the Grand Prix.
Yeah, the Grand Prix.
Sorry.
No, Danny Rick. No, I reckon he's going to start hitting it in the lights like that. I think as long as the car suits the circuit, he'll be able to do it. It's a short track as well. That's the thing. They're going to be doing 108, 109 lap time, so it's going to be quick in that respect. But and it's a good, nice braking circuit for him, so he'll be very good on the brakes. He's, one of the last of the late brilliant
breaker.
late breakers. As long
Yeah.
as he's got that confidence.
Yeah.
You saw it in Renault early on. It's like he didn't have that confidence.
Yeah.
But that second year, it's like going. No, he had the confidence. The brain got better, and now I think with the McLaren, he's just going to get better and better.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
agree.
the car.
Faux show.
Yeah.
Faux show.
It takes a lot.
Yeah.
Like you think it takes a lot to trust a car you haven't driven before.
Yes.
If
Yeah.
you're just moving your mate's car and you have
Yeah.
never driven it. And then
Well,
this
they don't
guy's
get a
doing
lot of time
300
in
clicks,
it.
you're like, I might take a bit just to step into
They
this.
don't get a lot of actual bum on seat time
No.
in those cars.
No.
So
No.
The amount of gym work that they have to do for their necks and stuff to hold it at 5Gs. I saw a video today of
What do they do for that?
I saw
They're like
one guy
elastic bands
laying on
and-
his side with an elastic band with a 20-kilo weight holding off the ground with his neck like directly horizontal, to keeping his head like that, and he was holding it for a minute at a time with 20 kilos hanging off the top of his skull.
That's a muscle
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
It's
not
just not
other,
meant
no
for it.
other
The guys who
athlete
do
None of
that-
us could do.
guys who do a lot of winter sports like the luge and the bobsleigh and all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff, they do all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff as well. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about like Mick Doohan's son winning in
Oh yeah, Rennie Garner. Yes. Yeah. So that
Yeah,
was
Rennie Gardner
Randy
and
Gardner? Mick Doohan's son won in at Formula
Formula 3.
Formula 3.
Troy Corse's son did something pretty good in like a junior superbike category in the Northern Territory or something.
Yeah, no, Troy Bayliss's son.
Troy Bayless.
Yeah.
One of the
so-
Troys.
Yeah, a lot of Aussie,
No, I got
a
that.
lot of Aussie talent coming through in all the ranks.
Oscar Piastri as well, and
F2.
and
He's in F2.
He's in F2, yeah. And if there's any New Zealanders on here as well, you got Liam Lawson and stuff like that, so he's doing pretty good. So we got
Yeah.
No, no New Zealanders.
no New Zealanders. I know Australia won for that. Yeah. Depends on did you know what I mean?
Here we go. Chris Prince has been around Bathurst in an F1 two-seater car.
Oh,
Can you please
you got a video?
PM me about that or
You
send
are
us the
huge.
More
video?
info, please.
And how did you
Yes.
get to do that so we can bribe whoever did
Yes,
that
yes,
for
exactly. And are you going to the Grand Prix this year?
you? That is
I'm sure we
unbelievable.
can arrange.
Was in
something for us to come down.
2015, he says.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah,
That's
is
something.
insane.
Yeah.
Other golf news, did you anyone watch the end of the US Open? the
Oh,
other morning?
classy. John Rahm.
Unbelievable.
John
What a
Rahm.
legend.
And I think that's justified too because
Louis
he was
Oosthuizen, poor bloke.
dragged off the 6 shots up, final round. A couple of weeks
yeah.
ago, gets dragged off because he's got the vid.
The vid.
Yep.
Did you see
So-
the Batuta advocate thing about that? Guy who had super killer cough the week before somehow wins the US Open. It was just a real burn on the whole COVID world. But for him to do what he did, John Rahm come back from that where he could have gone the other way, got the shit
Yeah.
of the world, and not even done it. He got real positive and got there. And for anyone watching, Lewis Oosthuizen all he had to do was land his drive on 17 in play, and he would have at least drawn and gone to a playoff, and he hit it out of bounds.
Poor bugger.
So
I think there was a lot of great things that happened. I think didn't Phil Mickelson hang around and
he went and got John Rahm's wife and his brand new baby, who's a week old, took them out to the range where John Rahm was hitting balls, waiting for Louis Oosthuizen to finish, and pulled her up a seat and comforted her while he was preparing to win the title. It was unbelievable to watch if you're a golf fan, but obviously I get to work from home a lot, so when the majors are on, I get to sit there.
It's good
and
timing
like,
for us
it's
too
excellent.
with the US. It's like it's up pretty much like in the morning till about lunchtime.
Yeah.
That's a great thing.
My
All
missus is like, are you really getting up at 4 a.m.?
Beer o'clock, boys.
All right.
Yes, it is.
Nadeem, thank you very much for giving up your time.
No,
Well,
Yeah.
my pleasure. Thanks, guys.
We really appreciate it. We might jump on and do some more stuff tomorrow at your slam. We're going to cut and chop some stuff tomorrow and make a new video. So
Very much appreciate your patience with the sound. Clearly, the Wish.com microphones aren't cutting the mustard. We might have to invest.
yeah,
So, all right.
mobile mics.
2 weeks' time. What's on in 2 weeks' time? We're back in the shed.
Yeah,
I think we're back in the
it
shed.
will be the 6th of July is the next one.
6th of July, new financial year. We'll talk all things federal budget.
New and a wrap up of State of Origin because
When New South Wales will win.
well,
Nadine,
Yes.
we're 7 floors up from here.
Yeah, sure. Oh, no, it's better than Queensland.
Yeah, you're too heavy to get off the balcony. Nadine, all
Shout
right. Signing off from the ASTMA
guys.
Conference.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for tuning in.
Thank you.
We mow.
Hey!
Classic. Very classic.
Yeah, no.